Welcome to TAO-Living, the Art of Living podcast with your host, Luke Corletto, where you will be supported to remember that you are the driver and not the vehicle, so that you can walk your life in trust. Welcome back to this episode of TAO-Living podcast, the Art of Living. Today, let's talk about stress. Yeah, you know that word. You know that concept. Well, especially in this day and age, the amount of stress that people experience is quite intense. But I'm here to bring some peace and joy to this process. Yeah, so let's unpack it, right? First of all, the majority of times when people refer to the word stress, it only has a negative connotation. And there is truth in that aspect, for sure. However, there's another aspect as well that people aren't paying attention to that's really essential to get clear on. And so you might have heard of, there was a Hungarian endocrinologist named Hans Selye who wrote a book back in the 50s called The Stress of Life. But in the 70s, he revised it using different terms, distress and eustress, distinguishing what I would call constructive or destructive, right? So when most people categorize everything that's yucky, unpleasant, under stress, they completely forget that there is a positive stress, right? So if you go to a gym and work out, that's actually stressful to your body, but it's productive, taking into account that you're working out properly. When you learn something new, you're challenging your mind. That is stressful and productive. So that's eustress, a positive impact, because stress is how we grow. When it's constructive, when it's destructive or distress, then that's what breaks us down, right? So here's a little test for you. A term that was used years ago called accumulative constructive survival values or accumulated destructive survival values. Let's make this real simple. Think about your day, a 24-hour cycle day, period, and just scan what that day looks like, right? So for instance, I'm going to give you two separate people, right? So Mary wakes up in the morning and she floats down the stairs, right? And her partner has made her this green smoothie, and she flies off on her magic carpet to the place that she works with all the people that she loves and makes an impact in the world, right? You get the concept, right? So at the end of her day is Mary having more accumulated constructive survival values, meaning is there more goodness happening in her life in that day that builds her up, or more things that break her down, right? So Joe wakes up in the morning, trips over the dog, kicks the cat, pours the coffee into his 5-gallon thermos, goes outside to drive to work, and there's a flat, drives 2 hours to a job that he hates just to make the money to get the insurance that he's gonna need because of the accumulated destructive survival values, right? So again, you get it real quick. What if you looked at his 24-hour day, how many more things is Joe engaged in that is breaking him down versus building him up, right? So we all do this, parts of it every day. Now, how much of either one is totally on us? This is under a category that I call managing your environment. I've done podcasts around that. You can go find a link to one of those, or I'll make sure there's a link under this to associate to that. Manage your environment, right? So in that self-assessment is scan your day. Like, are you spending more time in activities, places, moments, interactions that are building you up or breaking you down? Because at the end of the day, that's the concept of accumulation, right? So accumulated destructive survival values or accumulative constructive survival values. In this case, I would say thrival values, right? So are you doing more at the end of the day to break yourself down, or more at the end of the day to build yourself up? And what proportion, right? So it's not about judgment right or wrong. It's just getting clean and clear. This is what's happening in your day. And then what you can do about that. What can you do to reduce the stuff that you're engaged in that breaks you down more than builds you up? And on the flip side, what can you do that builds you up more than breaks you down, right? So distress or destructive inputs into your life, hanging out with negative people, engaging in stuff that you don't resonate with, right? So some of these are real obvious. Working in a job that you hate for years, right? Some are more subtle, but they're still impactful in a negative, destructive way to your body, right? So again, back to the top of the hour, which was most people put negative connotation under the word stress, but it's not valid actually, because there's, as we just talked about, distress and eustress, right? Breaks us down, builds us up. This is productive, this is destructive, right? So constructive, destructive. Of the two, which one do you apply more to your life on a regular basis? Really important, yep. So be mindful. Back to conscious languaging, another podcast topic. Because if you're constantly only using the word stress from a negative connotation, then you're missing an aspect of a powerful, productive ally in your life. Learning, growing, working out, all of these things are a productive eustress that help us grow. And if you'd like to experience a 4-day immersion of eustress, and you is EUSTRESS, not YOU, eustress. If you'd like to experience 4 days of immersion with an intimate group of people and pure nature doing some amazing work to handle the destructive stuff and incorporate the constructive, life-affirming shifts in your life, join us October 12 to 15 for the Art of Living Immersion, TAO-Living Immersion. There's a link below. Until next time, thanks for tuning in to the TAO-Living Podcast. Ciao.
To connect further and dive deeper, you can always reach me at my website, loucorleto.com, LOUCORLETO, or in the social channels, Facebook, loucorleto.official, Instagram, Lou_Corleto, Twitter, Lou_Corleto, and LinkedIn. Until next time, remember who you be. Abundant blessings.